Hello everyone and welcome to the new tutorial, the fourth in a row of the topic of making a film in Blender. And if you haven't looked at the first three, you can look for them. This is a scene we will make in this tutorial. The scene is actually a combination of my imagination and the reality because this place actually exists. And if you have ever been in Zadar in Croatia, you may be familiar with this place, and it's called the City Gate in the historic part of Zadar. The reason I chose this place is that I live neighborly about 5 miles from here. And another reason is that I have perfect references and some parts we can use for photo scanning later. Actually, my entire 2 minute short film takes place at this location. The robot lives in this house, feeds the fish at this place, and then goes to this restaurant. That way I made my job easier because I have great references and I don't have to invert a lot of things out of my head, which could easily lead to things not look realistic. This way everything makes sense and logic. In my opinion, photo scanning is the easiest way to achieve photorealism, and the second best method is image projecting, and then procedural. But we can achieve the best result if we combine all three methods. Photo scanning always looks a little more realistic, but in my experience it is difficult to get a top result for something that is very close to the camera without good equipment. For example, I think that with photo scanning it will be difficult to create this computer that is very close to the camera as with modeling. But these walls in the background looks great with photo scanning, much better than just using image projecting. With photo scanning we get a complete relief and we can try to copy this with bump and displacement maps but less successfully. And bump and displacement works by creating a relief based on the white and black colors. And for example, if our stone is black because it's dirty, Blender will hollow it out instead of bulging it. And also we get the perfect UV map with photo scanning. The program we will use for photo scanning is Reality Capture, and if you are afraid that program is difficult or that you need additional equipment or money, don't worry, the program is incredibly easy. And I don't have much experience with photo scanning and I only have a mobile phone and a few bucks, and I still get a good result. I will show you how you can reduce the price per object to just a few cents. If you want to follow this tutorial, I will share all the photo scans I use in the tutorial with you. If you look at this scene, you can see that we modeled this city gate by hand, and this is because this object is in focus in several scenes, and I did not get a good result with photo scanning, such as with these walls. A drone will probably help in this case because the object is tall. For now we can start with modeling this city gate. This is an image that we will use as texture, and I found it on Wikipedia. The image is almost perfect because it's high resolution, about 5K, and it was photographed almost at the angle of 90 degrees, which we need. The only thing I don't like is that it's photographed in the sun day, which creates shadows. And we don't want shadows in color input, we want Blender to create shadows for us depending on our lighting. This is the author of the picture, and I will leave you a link in the description so you can see the rest of his work. To solve the problem with shadows, I opened the picture in Photoshop. And I just reduce the highlights, contrast and shadows. And this is before and after. And I will share the processed image with you so you don't have to do it. And now we can go to Blender and start modeling. So delete this cube and numpad 1 for front orthographic view, and insert images as plane. And find our image on computer. Rotate on the z-axis by 90 degrees and turn on material preview. And press X-1 to flip this image on x-axis. And I want this car on the right side. And this building is 30 meters high, so I will create a cube 30 meters high for the measure. Now we can delete this cube. Since this structure is symmetrical, it makes no sense to model two sides at the same time, so we will use a mirror modifier. So I will add a loop cut in the middle and set it to be in the middle of the building in the UV editor. Just grab with G and move on left. We can now delete the right side of the image and activate the mirror modifier. Select this edge and delete vertices. And activate mirror modifier. Now everything we do on the left is done on the right as well. One thing that seems logical here is to take a knife and cut off this door, but this is the worst thing you can do in the beginning. If you make a few cuts with knife, you can no longer use Ctrl R to create loop cuts, and since we have a lot of straight lines, Ctrl R is our best tool. So we will first use Ctrl R as much we can before we start with K or knife. I will first add a reference image to Blender, and I will share a link to this image with you. So right click on this edge and horizontal split, and now we can choose image editor and open our image here. And now we have good reference here, we can take a look at any time. The next thing I want to do is create as many loop cuts as possible on the straight lines of this building. So Control R and start adding loop cuts. And now I will try isolate these doors and this bottom part. And these columns also. And this part here, which we see that is extruded. And I see these little extruded edges here. Now we can delete these faces we don't need. And the one thing we forget here is to turn on this clipping or mirror modifier, and this is important. And the next I want to check here is in object mode this face orientation, and we can see that this is red, and red is not correct color. So I will go to edit mode, press A to select all, and F3 for search, and the type for flip. And now it's correct. And the last one thing here is we need apply rotation and scale. So go to object, apply all transform. And now everything is correct for start. We can start extruding things here. And if you look our reference, you can see that basically everything is extruded out except this part here and this part. So I will just go to edit mode and select this face selection and select all these columns, and this part here. And I will now go to with E to extrude and Y for Y-axis. I will extrude this part here now. So select all this and select this face on side. Go to with numpad 7 to top orthographic view and Alt E extrude face along normals and extrude this out. And you can see that this line is not straight, so just go to wireframe mode and select this and press SY0 to scale along y-axis to 0, and select this line here and press SX0 because this is x-axis. And I see a few steps here. You can see these steps here. So I will select this edge select and with Ctrl R add two loop cuts. And now I will select this two on top and just deselect this. With shift and select this again, and now I will go again with Alt T extrude face along normals, and again with SY0 and SX0. And now just select this one on top and repeat this process. Alt E, wireframe mode, and SY0 and SX0. And now we have these steps here. And I will now bevel this one. And maybe this one with just one edge. And the next I will do here is bevel these columns here. This one and this one. So if we select this line and this line and go with Ctrl B, we get problems here. So we need just one support edge here. Now we can select this here and with Ctrl this one and Shift to skip to another side, Ctrl again, Shift Ctrl, Shift Ctrl, and now we can go with Ctrl B and bevel this, and with the scroll mouse add a few lookouts here.